My name is Tom Hunt. I'm a biologist, survivalist, and all-round adventurer. I've always been fascinated by the limits of human capabilities.
I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make sense.
What people can achieve when they break from convention. So I'm setting out on a mission to find incredible people who claim to possess unique abilities. Powers that push the known limits of the mind.
When you just see it happen in front of you, it's incredible.
And body. And defy the laws of conventional science. I'll get an insight into their worlds and witness their abilities firsthand.
That's as far in as your ear. That's the middle of your skull.
I'll use my own scientific knowledge and call in experts to discover what lies behind their skills.
It was so incredible to watch.
I want to find out just what it takes to become an extraordinary human. On my quest to find extraordinary humans, this time I'm in search of people who claim to be challenging the course of evolution. Adaptation can take millennia, and as a biologist, I'm fascinated in how living organisms have evolved over time, while mankind has changed little in the last few thousand years. The first man I investigate is an athlete like no other. He's taken inspiration from the animal world and claims to be the fastest man on all fours. Then I go in search of a blind man who claims to have developed an extra sense.
There's probably a mailbox.
He uses echolocation to picture the world around him, just like a bat. This leg of my journey brings me to California, and I'm on my way to meet a man who's developed his own unique way of running. Unlike our primate cousins, human beings evolved to walk upright on two legs. But the individual I've seen footage of has decided to go against this convention and set the speed record on all fours.
My name is Kenichi Ito. I'm from Tokyo, Japan. I'm a quadrupedal runner. I run just like an animal.
Kenichi says the inspiration for his technique came from watching how patas monkeys ran in the zoo.
I really love the monkeys, especially the patas monkey, which can run really fast. I saw the monkey and I tried it in a park, and that's how it all began.
Native to West and East Africa, patas monkeys are the fastest primates, clocking speeds of up to 34 miles an hour. Kenichi has closely studied their movement and tried to emulate it. He even moves on his arms and legs in everyday life in a bid to become more natural on all fours. He's currently in America for analysis, so I've arranged to meet him and see if he can really move like an animal. So Ken, you've taken this to the degree where it's not a hobby anymore. This is your main job. Is that right?
I've been quad running for 11 years, and it was only after 8 years it became my full-time job. So for 3 years.
Okay. So you're the world's best at quad running, and there's only about 100 of you that do this in the whole world at the moment. Is there a world championships?
There's only actually one championship in the whole world, just once a year in Japan, and the record's actually held by me.
Okay. I'm not convinced this is going to take off as the next big sporting event, but before I make my mind up, I need to see this strange adaptation for myself. Let's get started. I want to learn.
Okay. Let's go.
Animals like monkeys are physically adapted to running fast on all four limbs. I'm keen to see if Kenichi's 11 years of practice has really been enough to match them. As I watch him run around the park, I'm not quite sure what to think. It certainly looks animal-like, but I can't see how he can reach the speeds that he claims. I want to try it out for myself, so I've asked Kenichi for a few pointers.
First, walk.
Okay.
Right hand,
Yeah.
left leg. Do.
Okay. Right, it's going to take some concentration as well.
Yeah. Then Yeah, yes. Yeah, yeah. Oh, very nice, very nice.
Okay.
Like a dog and cat.
I'm certainly not feeling as agile as a dog.
Opposite hand. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's very different. It's quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. First one.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
I've been going for less than a minute and I'm already out of breath. I just don't see how humans can physically pick up speed in this way.
Very nice training.
Good.
Okay, next, running. Yeah, try.
Yeah.
Running. Little bit jump.
Yeah.
Then left hand, right hand, left leg, right leg. Jump.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. Ready?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Oh, it stretches.
Yeah,
The
very.
back, the thighs.
Yeah,
There's a lot of pressure on the arms.
yeah.
And to think Kenichi trains like this for 6 hours a day.
One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.
Every muscle in my body hurts.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
I cannot see how Kenichi can generate the speeds he claims.
What's your top speed?
Oh, okay. ちょっと待ってて。
Kenichi says he can reach speeds of 14 miles an hour. I've got to see this for myself.
Wow, that's pretty quick. I think I'm going to leave the expert to it because my body's starting to feel it a little bit now.
Trying it for myself, I've certainly gained a respect for how tough it is on the body. Kenichi tells me he also has some big ambitions.
今僕は毎年1秒ずつ記録を。
Every year, my record progresses by 1 second.
2020年まで毎年1
So if this progress can go on,
2020年には東京オリンピッ
I'll be able to participate in the Tokyo Olympics in
クで
2020.
僕9秒台で走れてる計算になるんですね。だから
And ultimately, I might be able to even beat Usain Bolt.
ことです。
Wow. Well, that's certainly a bold statement. I like it.
Now that I've seen Kenichi's skill in person, I want to find out exactly how his animal-inspired technique compares to that of a bipedal runner. Here at Cal State University, Professor Yingling is studying Kenichi's movement to see how it differs from known human capabilities.
Ken, what speeds can you get up to? Because that looked pretty fast to me.
At the moment, I can run 50 meters in 7 seconds and 100 meters in 16 seconds.
So, Professor Yingling, tell me a little bit more about the technology you've got here.
So we're using Dartfish video technology, and it can take video analysis as Ken runs through his 50-meter run, and we can look at how he generates the speed. And so he has two choices: stride length, so how far of a stride he's taking or how long, or stride rate, how fast he's turning over his limbs. So the comparison we thought we would do is Ken jogging and then have him go at full speed and do a comparison of his strategies of how he gets from that jogging speed to the full sprint.
Is it possible for me to do an analysis as well so we can see the difference between 2 legs and 4?
Absolutely, that would be great.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I need to get changed.
Great, let's get started.
Great.
Okay.
Professor Yingling and her students have set high-speed video cameras at 3 points along a 50-meter track. When Kenichi and I run past it, we'll be captured on camera. From this, we'll be able to analyse and compare our running techniques.
So Ken's on the start line. What's going to be happening?
So first we're gonna have him do the jog first and take the video analysis from the 3 cameras.
Great. Mark! Set! Go!
You can really see how similar Kenichi's run is to an animal.
It does look strange, doesn't it?
It's very interesting.
It's almost like a canter of a horse.
A bit.
In order to up his speed, Kenichi will need to increase either his stride length or the number of strides he takes, his stride rate.
Which do you think it would be?
I think he's going to do a bit of both, but he'll probably increase his stride length more than his stride rate,
Okay.
I think.
Wow, that was pretty incredible. He was actually a lot smoother than I thought.
Much smoother. And we've been trying to figure out if he ever has a true flight phase, meaning all 4 limbs are off the ground at the same time, similar to bipedal running.
Right, well, I suppose it must be my turn now.
All right, let's get started.
Right. So Ken's done his jog and his sprint, and I'm the control now for the jog. Mark, set, go!
Studies have suggested it was this ability to jog bipedally that first separated humans from our ape-like ancestors.
Mark, set, go!
And that over long distances, we can outrun nearly every other animal on the planet. Having captured footage, it was clear we had very different techniques. But I want to find out just how far he's pushing the known limits of human performance.
Vanessa, we've got some results.
Yep.
Let's go through them.
All right. So we analyzed your jog, which is this one, and you had a stride length of about 8.12 meters, and your stride rate was about 76 strides per minute.
That's quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to be.
All right, and then your fast trial, the number is now 8.68. So your strategy was not to increase your stride length. You had a 45% increase in your stride rate.
So while my stride length remained relatively stable, I increased my stride rate to speed up, a standard bipedal running technique.
And now on to Ken.
So when he was jogging, he had 5.34 meters.
Okay.
And his stride rate was 120 strides per minute, and you were 76.
Okay.
So then when we go to his faster speed, you can see that he had a 25% increase in stride length. He went up
Yeah.
to 6.9 meters.
Right.
So he's really trying to kind of lengthen out. And his stride rate was not changed.
Oh, so it's the same number.
Pretty
So
much
we
the
actually
same.
picked opposite strategies in order to try and go faster.
Yes.
So to up his speed on 4 limbs, Kenichi has increased his stride length significantly, but his stride rate remained the same. I'm keen to see if he has a flight phase, like a bipedal runner or an animal would. Nature sets the performance bar for high-speed locomotion pretty high. The fastest land animal is the cheetah, capable of speeds of around 58 miles an hour. The animal's stride length is an impressive 10 meters, and this is one of the key contributing factors to their speed. When they're running at full pelt, the cheetah has 2 flight phases, the moment when all of their limbs are off the ground. I'm keen to see if Kenichi has a flight phase like the cheetah does.
So when you run, you're flying through the air, right? There's a flight phase.
Yeah.
And it was about 86 milliseconds.
Okay, because I'm assuming while I'm in the air, I'm not generating any more speed because I've got no traction with the ground.
No, you're not, but you're also not slowing yourself down.
Okay, but Ken, because he's got 4 points of contact, did he even have a flight phase or not?
Ken has no complete flight phase.
So unlike most quadrupedal animals and bipedal runners, Kenichi doesn't have a flight phase. He always has 1 point of contact with the ground. But could this make him quicker?
Do you think he uses his arms just for stabilization to keep him in that position, or are they actually for traction and power for running?
That's a great question. And from the video analysis, I'm not sure we can completely answer that. You'd need a little bit more data on the force he's actually applying to the ground.
So our initial tests have shown how different Kenichi's technique is from a bipedal runner. But to find out if this makes him quicker, we need to analyze the force he can produce from his extra contact with the ground. I've brought him to meet Dr. Smith at the Motion Analysis Research Center to try and find some answers.
Dr. Smith,
Hi.
I'm Tom.
Hi, Tom. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Kenichito.
Hi, Ken. Nice to meet you, too.
Nice to meet you.
Dr. Smith's high-tech lab specializes in the 3D motion capture and analysis of human movement. Using cameras mounted around the room and pressure plates on the floor, I'll be able to get an insight into the forces Kenichi creates when he runs.
We actually have room for 6 force plates here, but we only have 2 that are operational at the moment. We have a force plate here and one over here. And so long as Ken can get either a hand or a foot on one of these plates, we should be able to measure the force all the way up the limb to the shoulder or the hip.
Perfect, because that's exactly what we're after. And with all these cameras, how does it actually work? How do we get the data of how his body's moving?
Well, we're not going to actually video Ken himself. Actually, we're going to video light reflecting markers that we're going to stick onto his body at specific anatomical landmarks. And these will define each of his segments.
Tracking Ken's motion in this way will give us data unique to his movement.
How many of these are going on?
76, but during the actual running, we'll leave just 14 of these single ones in place.
It's quite a setup.
Each segment in a model like this needs at least 3 markers to give us 3-dimensional information. In many cases, we're going to have more than 3 just to make sure we get the data we want.
How do you feel, Ken?
Yeah, very nice.
You look great.
Thank you.
Okay, can you place your arms like this?
With all the markers on, Dr. Smith maps each segment of Ken's body on the system.
Done. You can relax.
And once that's done, it's time to put Ken to the test.
Hang on, Ken. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go.
Starting with a slow walking pace,
Good.
You've got both hands, one on each plate there,
That
I
was the
noticed.
idea. Yep.
before moving on to a run. Because of Kenichi's long stride length when he runs,
That was close.
it takes a few attempts to hit the right spot.
That was the right leg. Oh, that was close. That was the one.
Time to get the results and find out just what forces Kenichi is generating.
But I mean, it's possible.
First, we take a look at the forces when Kenichi runs on just 2 legs.
What results have we got?
Well, Tom, out of all the trials that we collected from Ken, we decided that we would look at his upright running as a sort of base of comparison. And what I've displayed over here on the right, this is the ground reaction force in the vertical direction. And so you can see that the peaks here are almost 1,200 newtons. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that his weight force would be about 525 newtons. So this represents about 225% of his normal standing weight.
So he's got over twice the amount of body weight, or we all do, going through our legs whenever we go for a jog.
Absolutely. In fact, it could be even higher than that, depending on how fast you run and, of course, how much you weigh. So this is a perfectly healthy example of a person jogging, I would say. Now, if we take a look at a similar trial for him in a quadruped position, we have a right foot landing here, and we can see that the peak force here is about 745 newtons. That's about a 50% increase over what you would normally see when he was just standing, but still well below what we would see through the leg in a normal run.
So changing over into his quadrupedal running, there seems to be a significant drop at the power or the force going through his legs.
Exactly, exactly.
This must mean his arms are taking some of the pressure and perhaps helping to propel him forward.
If we look at a case where his hand came down,
This is the interesting bit now.
yeah, so here we have the same sort of force profile. It's much briefer in time, but it still peaks at 677 newtons, which is about 30% more than what we would see if he was standing on the force plate.
Wow, so he's got 1.3 his total body weight going through just one arm.
That's right.
That's like doing a handstand with one hand and extra weights on.
Absolutely. It's exactly the same. And the reason why it's that way is because not only is he putting his hand on the ground and supporting his weight, but he's moving forward. He's actually accelerating, and that acceleration adds to this normal gravity force that acts on our body at all times.
So Kenichi does use his arms to generate a forward motion. That's a huge force for them to be put under, and he wasn't even at his top speed.
Ken, what sort of pace compared to your top speed do you think you got up to today?
Only about 40%.
Really, only 40%?
Yeah.
Wow. Seeing this amount of force, Drew, through just 40% of his top speed, we could be getting well above 1,000 newtons coming through his arm?
Oh, I would imagine so, yes, quite easily. In fact, we might even begin to see some forces not too dissimilar from what we see when he was jogging on his legs, quite frankly.
But there's clearly a massive difference between the size of the bones in your arm and the size of the bones in your legs.
Absolutely, and the arms really aren't normally seeing those kind of loads.
What sort of effect would that have?
I would expect the bone would probably be stronger.
Quadrupeds in the animal world have specifically adapted joints to cushion the impact of running on four limbs. Human arms and wrists just aren't designed to take that kind of strain. Surely this must be having a physical effect on Kenichi. I've sent him for a bone scan of his arms to get a clearer picture. The scans take 3D cross-sectional images of his forearm and wrist. From these, we can measure the complete size of his bone structure and his bone density. Could years of running on all fours have resulted in a physical adaptation? The results of Ken's bone scan are ready, so I've come to meet with Professor Yingling. She takes me through what we're looking for.
So we're interested in how big, right? The bigger the hollow structure, the more bending or compressive loads it can resist. We're interested in the density of the bone, and then we're interested in the amount of bone within the entire structure of the bone. And all three of those combine to make up bone strength.
That's a pretty comprehensive study then.
Yes.
So I'm dying to know, did we get any really interesting results?
We did. So his total area at the wrist was 18% bigger than a male cross-country runner, bipedal, of the same height and weight.
So Ken's bone at the wrist is nearly 1/5 bigger than someone who runs on two legs.
Correct.
That's a massive change in size, but that's not where it ends.
And what about the density?
The density at the wrist was a 10% increase compared to the bipedal cross-country runner.
In your opinion, do you think that is a direct adaptation that Ken's created?
Absolutely. Whatever the loading on his forelimbs are, he is adapting in multiple ways, size and density, to maintain his bone strength.
I'm amazed at what we found out. Not only has Kenichi managed to hone an animal-like technique as a quadrupedal runner, but he's actually adapted himself physically, with his bones changing to take the forces he subjects them to. This story is certainly an unusual one. There's no denying that Ken has taken his passion and really tried to perfect the art of running on all fours, which, although I think is quite peculiar, he's doing pretty well at it, and his body is adapted in the most extraordinary way. Up next, I'm heading up into the hills of Los Angeles to meet a blind man who claims to have found a very unique way of seeing the world.
My name is Juan Ruiz. I was born in Mexico in a very small town.
Juan was born without sight, and he says his unusual ability developed as he grew up.
I know I have been using a form of echolocation called passive echolocation.
Animals echolocate by sending calls out to their environment and then listening for the echoes that return from objects nearby, enabling them to locate and identify what is around them. Juan claims that by using echolocation, just like a bat does, he's able to convert sounds into pictures in his brain, enabling him to see. I can't wait to find out if this is true.
I've heard of animals echolocating, but I've never heard of it in a human before. This could be really interesting.
Juan says he can use ambient sounds as well as audible clicks to gain a bearing of the world around him. The skeptic in me thinks human echolocation must be some kind of trick, but as a scientist, I'm always willing to be proven wrong.
Good morning.
Juan.
Hey, how are you?
Great, I'm Thom. How are
It's
you?
a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
I ask Juan to show me his crazy-sounding claim straight away, and outside in his drive is the perfect opportunity.
I know where the car begins and ends with echolocation.
Okay.
I can come up to the end of the vehicle
Yeah.
and, I can sort of shape it out for you to make sure not to hit the edges.
He's tracing the car to within a few centimeters. and making a clicking sound just like a bat.
Over the top.
It certainly sounds like he's using echolocation.
And then we come up here to the front and we start going down. Now I have to be more precise. I can't let myself touch this. And then, of course,
If he's really doing this, it's impressive. But I'm yet to see him echolocate an unfamiliar object.
So you obviously know this car quite well, but how do you
do.
negotiate other bits of your environment, just like your neighborhood?
Well, let's go check it out. Let's go walk around and I'll show you.
Okay.
You might
It might look like he's cheating, but Juan uses the cane in case of any trip hazards.
use that you're not
When the cane touches something, it just adds more to the picture in his mind's eye.
you know, of course, as we're walking around, my cane's giving me a lot of information as well.
And what are you feeling for? Just bits in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, just anything that may keep me from walking in front or some stairs or whatnot.
Okay.
But, I mean,
I've got a question for you then.
Huh?
So we've just come off the edge, we're just onto the edge of the street.
Huh?
Just give me a little picture of what's in front of us.
well, what I'm getting is this. I can't walk forward because there's something in the way,
Correct?
okay? So the fact that we're in the street, right by the side of the street, I would have to say it's a car, right? So,
Correct.
you know,
Okay, so like
And so-
I'm kind of keen for you to, it's your neighborhood, take me on a tour.
all right.
As Juan clicks to get a picture of his surroundings, he seemed to pick up on something further down the road.
Oh, what's drawing my attention is this thing over here. Let me see. Well, okay. This is interesting. What? What? There is something here on the
Yeah,
right.
there is, yeah.
Is that a car? Let's see. No, that's not a car either.
I'm getting the feeling you're noticing gaps in between them.
That's exactly what I'm noticing. These gaps in between, like right here.
Yeah.
Oh, garbage cans, maybe?
Garbage. Incredible. Good stuff, right.
It definitely seemed like he used echolocation then, and he even picked out the gaps in between.
Between, like right here.
Yeah.
I'm keen to see what else he might detect. So we head further down the road.
That's probably a mailbox.
Incredible.
He somehow manages to pick out a mesh fence.
I'll tell you where it started. It starts at about here.
Yep.
And then over here, we have some type of, wow, what is this? A tree?
A tree. Very good.
I'm impressed by what I've just seen. Juan was able to pick out objects using what seemed like echolocation.
That's probably a mailbox.
But this is familiar territory to Juan, so I do find myself wondering how much of it he knows off by heart. I want to find out how he claims to have learnt this skill, so we head inside.
Go ahead and take a seat here at the table. Would you like something to drink? A glass of water?
Oh, yeah, some water would be great.
Okay, wonderful. I grab some here.
I see Juan can easily navigate his way around here too, but then it is his kitchen.
Yeah, so don't worry, Tom, I'm not sticking my finger in your cup. I'm listening to the glass as it's filling up too.
So you can tell how full it is with the weight.
Yeah. All right.
So, Juan, in terms of your echolocation skills, is this something you just naturally kind of stumbled across, or was it a specific skill that you learned?
You know, I've always been using passive echolocation. Yeah? And this is just where you're using environmental sounds to gather information and interpret it and get an idea of what's around you. And, you know, it's not a very clear picture, but it's a picture nevertheless, right? Now, when I start clicking, that picture becomes a lot more crisp,
Right.
a lot more clear.
Okay, so it's like the degree to which you can read your environment.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had to learn how to click and how to interpret these sounds and to use the clicking strategically. Because really it is like learning how to see.
As a marine biologist, I've studied how dolphins use echolocation. While they actually have excellent sight, the often murky waters they inhabit have led to this sense evolving over time. Dolphins are able to produce clicks at a rate of up to 1,000 per second, whereas humans can only produce 4. They judge an object's distance and size from the reflections of their calls and can detect something smaller than a centimetre from a distance of more than 100 metres. I'm not sure I believe a human can really echolocate, but Juan seems convinced that he can somehow use sound to see.
So in terms of the clicking sound that you actually make, is there a better click or a worse click? What type of click do you use?
Actually, in order to get the nice, crisp images, you must use a sharp and short click. So something like this.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, now we can tell people that we really clicked.
That's a terrible joke. Okay, so you're an independent, active guy. What sort of hobbies are you interested in?
Do we have time for hobbies, Tom?
Of course.
What I really do enjoy is, first of all, I like horseback riding.
Really?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Anything that has to do with outdoors, you know, hiking, water skiing, fishing.
I'm a fishing nut. We could get on with
Oh, and you know, I'm willing to try just about anything.
It seems like Juan has a sense for adventure, and I've got the perfect thing to see just how good at echolocation he really is. I've seen what Juan can do on his home ground, but I want to take him out of his comfort zone and really put his claim to the test. So, I've brought him biking. To make this a challenge, we've come to a trail he's never been to before. Local mountain biker Rhett has offered to be Juan's guide.
Wow, man, your balance is amazing.
With a cable tie attached to Rhett's spokes, incredibly, Juan is able to follow the clicking sound using his echolocation skills.
Riding with a blind guy.
It's truly astonishing witnessing Juan ride so quickly. And although he's at a slight disadvantage,
Oh, left, up.
he doesn't let this faze him. I'm astounded by what Juan seems to be doing. If I closed my eyes, I don't think I'd stay on my bike for more than a few seconds.
Rut's coming up. Hey!
He has not been on a bike in over a year. He's blind, and he's cycling down a single track. I genuinely don't know what to say. This guy is breaking all the boundaries of what I know to be possible. Guys, that was actually some really interesting trails there.
Tom, you're breathing hard.
There's some big uphills and some quick downhills. Like, you haven't been on a bike for over a year. How was that?
You know, it always takes some getting used to being on a bicycle again and being in tune with all the information that you're receiving and to get that flow going. But once you get it going, it's no problem.
We were hitting some, what sort of speeds were we getting up to down those hills?
Well, I think above 15, you know, and without any knowledge, it's kind of scary. I tried to close my eyes a few times.
Hey, you're not allowed to close your eyes.
You know, I was at the back and I spent a few seconds trying to close my eyes to see what it would feel like. And honestly, there's just that initial fear that comes out and you can't do it for more than a few seconds. It actually got to the point where I was thinking, you know, you were just one of us just riding along like a sighted guy. Really, it didn't come across my mind at a few points. And then it suddenly clicks back in. You think, you know, one can't see anything, he can hear things, but it was incredible.
It's a great feeling to have the freedom and control of my bicycle. Yeah.
You are the true story of, like, there's no limits, man.
No, I think we always have to push our limits, and even when we think we have reached our limits, why not push them a little bit more and see what else we can accomplish?
In order to try and understand how Juan is doing this, I need to spend some time in his shoes. Today, he's brought me down to the botanical gardens and he's going to teach me to echolocate so I can see an environment I really enjoy in a completely different way. Juan.
Thom, you showed up. I can't believe it.
How are you doing?
I was so afraid that knowing the task that you are facing today, you were not going to show up.
No, honestly, I'm really keen to get into your world today. So let's head in and I'm really keen to get started.
Let's go. All right.
Before my lesson can begin, Juan needs to get my other senses into gear, and that means taking away my sight.
First of all, we have to change the way that you are perceiving the world. And in order to do that, we must blindfold you, Thom. So I have brought a blindfold with me.
Okay.
And so first, put on this blindfold. I'm not gonna say too much. I'm just gonna give you time to let it settle.
This is the moment, so here goes. So,
make sure it's comfortable.
It's quite comfortable, and actually, I thought there might have been some periphery light coming in, but I can't actually see anything. Right, I guess that's a good start.
What can you perceive from your environment now that you have this blindfold on?
Okay, even just putting this on, already I can notice there's such an acute awareness that's gone to my ears straight away. And I'm now listening to things that I could obviously hear before, but I wasn't paying any attention to. So there's some sort of beeping going on down in the car park, I think. I can definitely hear a water sprinkler over here. There's some birds up in the trees. I'm picking up a lot of information in various different ways through the senses that I really wasn't aware of before.
Yeah, that's true. Because your senses are already starting to compensate, beginning to adapt.
So we're gonna start?
Yeah, let's stand up.
Okay.
I will hand you this cane.
Okay,
Put it in your hand.
I don't think I'm anywhere near ready, but Juan says it's time to start walking.
Just keep on walking.
Yeah.
And when there's something different, just let me know.
Okay.
Why don't you start clicking, actually?
Okay.
Using a sharp, short click.
Juan tells me that the ability to detect the pitch of a sound is key. When I click, the sound waves will travel out at a speed of 300 meters per second. They will bounce off whatever is around me and arrive back in my ears. So I need to listen out for the subtle difference in the pitch of the sound that returns. I'm sensing something around here, but I'm going to go forward.
Go touch it. Go touch it. Click. Turn your head in the direction of where it's at.
If one ear receives much louder waves than the other, it shows the sound has bounced back faster and took a shorter route, indicating an object is on that side. Oh, wow. Right, okay, because I was literally just about to say to you, I'm not sure I'm getting anything back, but I was clearly hesitant. This is much harder than I thought it would be. But Juan sets me another challenge.
All right. I'm gonna work with you on this distance thing. Bring your cane up close to you. Okay.
Close to me, yeah.
Yeah. There's something around you and I want you to find it.
I'm getting somewhere in this range.
Okay, go.
I feel closer to something.
Oh, do you think you can touch it? Try.
This is the test.
Reach out to it.
Oh! What is it?
A garbage can.
Ah, I touched it with my stick. I shouldn't.
It doesn't matter. You were there.
Okay. I can't claim to have found that through echolocation, as I hit it with the cane first. Oh! As a sighted person, I'm beginning to wonder if it's even something I can learn. So Juan steps the lesson up a notch.
Now tell you what, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to go be a blind person. I'm gonna let you go off on your own.
Okay.
And just have that experience of walking around by yourself and trusting yourself.
I think I'm starting to notice the change in how the clicks sound when they bounce back off different objects.
Aha! I found a bush.
All right, good. Trees don't talk to you, Thom, but you're hearing them.
Oh, God, this is the most incredible experience.
You'd make a wonderful blind guy.
I've managed to echolocate a few things now, so Juan challenges me to find a tree in a clearing with a V-shaped trunk. I don't think I've got a chance.
Hey, Thom,
Yeah,
where are you going?
I think I've got a tree. I'm not
Great!
sure.
He has found it. Put that tree right in front of you. I want you to put your arm in between these two branches. So you walk.
Right, hang on, I just want to get there.
Very smart.
Right, okay. Oh, this is difficult. I want to go here.
Do it. Amazing.
Wow.
Do you want my job? I quit.
This experience has been quite incredible. I can't deny I had doubts about Juan's claims before. I really didn't think humans could use echolocation to effectively see the world around them, but I've just had a glimpse of its possibilities. But the question still remains, how has he developed this sense? And just how effective at seeing can it really be? I've brought Juan to the University of California to meet Professor Rosenblum, an expert in auditory perception.
Professor Rosenblum.
Hello.
I'm Thom. How are you? Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is the main man, Juan.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Juan. Have a seat, please. Thanks.
The professor has devised a test to help me work out just how acute Juan's skill really is.
I have here a rather large shape.
Can you tell me which shape that one is?
That would be cheating. A rather large shape on a pole, and I was thinking you could stand up and walk towards it and tell me whether it's a triangle shape, a square shape, or a disc shape.
Okay, great. Triangle, square, or
Disc.
this? Larry, I would have to conclude that this thing is a triangle.
You are correct, sir. Let's try another one.
All right.
That seemed so easy for him. Perhaps a circular shape might be harder.
Tell me, is it the triangle again, or is it a circle, a disc, or a square?
I would have to say that this is the circle.
You are correct. Let's try another one.
Alrighty.
It still feels too easy for Juan. I want to try out something else.
Okay, so I've got an extra challenge for this last one. You have to trace using your hand without touching the shape around the outside, as well as telling us the shape.
Okay, this one's quite easy. That one is the square.
Correct.
And so when it comes to tracing it, let's start at one of the edges here.
Perfect.
Very good.
It's amazing to see Juan identify a shape using just echolocation. But unlike with his car or his street, he had no prior knowledge of what was in front of him and relied purely on his extra sense.
So in some way, this is redefining what it means to see something. So although there's no visual input, he's certainly seeing a shape in some way, is that correct?
Yeah, in a sense, I think he is. He's getting like a glimpse of the world through sound.
Is that right?
Yeah, let me show you some images.
Professor Rosenboom believes in our brain's ability to remap itself, allowing areas of our brain that aren't being utilized to be used by other senses. he shows us some recent research that had some truly astonishing outcomes.
These were experiments that were done by a laboratory in Canada on brains of expert echolocators as well as control subjects.
Brain activity scans were taken of both subjects at rest, then again while the sound of clicks and their reflections were played back to them. First, they looked at the part of the brain responsible for hearing. While there was activity in both subjects, there was significantly more in the brains of echolocators.
But what's most striking about this is not what's going on in the auditory part of the brain, but what's going on in the visual parts of the brain. When you play these sounds to normal subjects that aren't expert echolocators, there really isn't much going on in the visual cortex. But look what happens in the visual cortex of the expert echolocators. When they are hearing these echolocation sounds, they show a ton of activity in the back of the brain, in the visual cortex. It's as if they are using their visual brain to help them see what they are echolocating.
Wow. So this is what we would know as neuroplasticity, but I'm quite interested to know, why does neuroplasticity even exist?
Well, neuroplasticity underlies all of our learning and our experience-dependent changes as we go through life when we're young and developing, or as adults when we learn a new skill.
So it's the ability for the brain to somehow rewire itself to still try to negotiate our environment or learn a new skill or just deal with life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, earlier on, Thom, I think your visual cortex was actually active when I was having you detect objects as well. Because as you remember, I was training you to listen to the distance of trees, and you got to the point where you could hear them from a distance of about 5 to 7 meters, and there's no other explanation that you were just visualizing them through the auditory sense.
It is very likely that you started using your visual cortex for hearing.
Really?
Yeah.
Finally, I found the answer to what lies behind Juan's amazing ability. The visual cortex in his brain creates images from what he hears, just as it would in a sighted person from what they see. Over 30 years of mastering the skill of echolocation, Juan's got the most incredible sense of freedom and independence around him. If a blind man riding a mountain bike isn't the most extraordinary thing, I don't know what is. On this leg of my search, I've met two people with incredible abilities. Kenichi's dedication to his sport has led to physical adaptations unlike anything I've ever seen. And due to being born without sight, Juan has evolved a new modality of human sensory perception.
There's probably a mailbox.
Allowing him to see the world through echolocation. Join me next time when my search for extraordinary humans continues. My name is Thom Hunt. I'm a biologist, survivalist, and all-round adventurer. I've always been fascinated by the limits of human capabilities.
I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make sense.
What people can achieve when they break from convention. So I'm setting out on a mission to find incredible people who claim to possess unique abilities. Powers that push the known limits of the mind.
When you just see it happen in front of you, it's incredible.
And body. And defy the laws of conventional science. I'll get an insight into their worlds. And witness their abilities firsthand.
That's as far in as your ear. That's the middle of your skull.
I'll use my own scientific knowledge and call in experts to discover what lies behind their skills.
It was so incredible to watch.
I want to find out just what it takes to become an extraordinary human. On this leg of my journey, I'm looking for extraordinary humans with strange physical mutations. I go in search of people who have adapted themselves in the name of performance, making their bodies unlike any other. I'll meet a man rumoured to have a stomach like a camel's hump. He says he can consume lethal amounts of water. and regurgitate it in a spectacular stream. It just keeps coming. Then I search out a man born with a giant right arm, nearly 50% bigger than his left. He says he can take on opponents nearly twice his size and win every time. As a biologist, I've studied many animals that have been forced to adapt in order to survive. Camels have inhabited our deserts for over 40 million years and have evolved humps that contain fat stores, which can be converted into water and energy in times of need. When they do find a water source, they can drink at an astounding rate, up to 200 litres of water in just 3 minutes. But on my search for extraordinary humans, I'm in Germany to track down a man who calls himself the human camel. Water is the essence of life. It comprises about 2/3 of our body. You could survive maybe a month without eating food, but barely a week without drinking water. Now, I'm off to meet a man who has taken drinking to a whole new level. Dixon Oppong claims to be able to ingest huge volumes of water, but he doesn't just stop there.
My name is Dixon Oppong. People call me Waterman.
Like a camel, Dixon claims he can drink an insane amount of water extremely fast. But then, unlike a camel, Dixon claims he can somehow spit it all back out on demand. From the videos I've seen online, it looks like he's really doing it, but it defies everything I know about human biology. I can't help but think it must be some sort of trick, so I have to see the human camel for myself. So I've just arrived at Dixon's house, and I'm going to meet the man that's got a very, very unusual skill. I'm quite excited, but quite nervous, actually, to see what he can do. Originally from Ghana, Dixon Oppong comes from a performing family. Dixon.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. And you?
Great to meet you.
Come, please.
Oh, thanks. He has travelled the world performing his Waterman show with the circus Africa Africa, but now he's settled here in Germany. Tell me what your special skill is.
I drink 5 bottles of water in 1 minute.
In 1 minute?
Yeah. 5 bottles of water, the bigger one.
So 5 1-litre bottles?
5 1-liter bottles.
Wow.
So after I drink, I open my mouth and spit out like a fountain, you know. Yeah, so that's why they call me Waterman.
Dixon tells me he's able to control the flow of water from his stomach, switching it on and off like a tap. I want to see this amazing ability to regurgitate on demand, but first, Dixon needs to fill the tank. For this demo, he's going to drink 1.5 litres of water as fast as he can. This is pretty impressive, but not extraordinary. Most people could drink this quantity, but maybe not this fast. That was literally just like pouring it out.
Yeah, that's why the people, they say Waterman.
He's already drunk enough to fill an average stomach, but Dixon wants more.
I think I don't feel nice.
You don't feel full?
Yeah, just let me take that one once again.
You're still thirsty. Wow. You are Waterman.
So, come with me.
Now Dixon's going to demonstrate his unique ability to bring the water back up on demand.
You want to see now?
I want to see it now.
Okay.
You've just had quite a lot of water.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Look.
It just keeps coming. This has got to be one of the strangest things I've ever seen. That is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that you can store so much water in the first place and then be able to fire it like you're like a hydrant. You're like a hose, the human hose.
Yeah, that's why they call me Waterman.
Dixon spits out every drop of water he just drank, and it seems it's something the whole family enjoy. 3. Who's winning? This is possibly the most random, strange, but fascinating thing I think I've ever seen.
Salut-moi, bravo, bébé.
What I've just seen has left me baffled. I thought there was going to be an obvious trick behind Dixon's claim, but it all looked real to me. But Dixon claims he can drink much, much more. So I've devised the perfect test of his accuracy and his capacity. We were joking around earlier, and Dixon claimed that he could put a fire out from the water that he can spit out of his mouth. So I've come down to the local fire station and I've set him up a challenge. The local fire chief has offered to help. Ralph.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks for setting this up for us.
You're welcome.
Ralph and his team have set up a large fire, which Dixon is now going to attempt to put out by drinking nearly 5 litres of water and then firing it out through his mouth. What do you think? 5 litres? That's going to be quite a good-sized fire.
Yeah, I think so too. So first of all, I find it very incredible that somebody is able to drink 5 liters of water, but then in order to extinguish this fire, with 5 liters, I think it's hard work. So
Yeah?
I'm not quite sure.
So it's going to be a good challenge for
It's
him.
a good challenge.
I can't wait to see if Dixon can really do this. But if he fails, at least we have the right guys on standby. Aha! Dixon.
Yeah, bro.
Good to see you. This is Ralph.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you.
And he's got the challenge. That's the fire we're going to get going. What do you think?
Yeah, possible.
Yeah?
Yes.
A challenge?
Challenge.
Okay. Before we start, the chief wants Dixon to change into some heat-proof clothing. The fire will generate some serious heat, and the chief thinks Dixon has no chance of putting it out. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah? Thirsty?
Thirsty, yeah.
With Dixon kitted out, we're ready to start the challenge. The fire is prepped, and we're all asked to stand back as it's lit. Oh! I can feel the heat from where I'm standing. I hope Dixon is feeling thirsty. Time to fill his extraordinary stomach with as much water as he can. He drinks his first bottle, and another. Then a third. The human stomach is only meant to hold about 1 litre and could easily rupture if overfilled. That's the third one he's just necked. That's 4.5 litres. Drinking that amount of water in such a short time is seriously dangerous. It's a pretty good fire we got going now. You ready, Dixon? Now for the moment of truth. He'll have to keep a safe distance from the fire, but move in close enough to put it out. Can he really put these flames out like a human fire extinguisher? Directing the flow of water with his finger, he moves around to extinguish the flames. And it looks like it's working. After just a couple of minutes, Dixon uses the last of the water in his incredible stomach to finish the challenge. And completely puts out the fire.
Well done. You put fires out every day, and this guy just did it from water out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's incredible. If everybody could do this, we
Be
would
out
have
of
a
a
lot.
job.
We have a lot less fires because.
If there is a fire somewhere, please call me.
I will.
The waterman.
We will definitely do that.
The waterman, the fireman coming together. Well done, man. Well done.
That was incredible. Dixon drank 4.5 litres in under 2 minutes and was able to completely extinguish the fire by spurting it back out. No normal human should be able to do this. So how did he do it? I feel like I've seen Dixon the showman in action. And while it's certainly entertaining,
Well done.
I can't help but wonder if he realises the risks. Coming up, I find out how Dixon is able to do something so dangerous with such apparent ease. I've been really impressed by Dixon. He is the most incredible showman. But after seeing him perform, there's something it just doesn't quite make sense to me. I really want to find out in a physiological way how he's managing to do this and why isn't it dangerous for him? Dixon tells me that his father also had this unusual ability. His father taught him how to perform his water skill, and in turn, Dixon has now passed it down to his daughter, Stephanie. Which makes me wonder if it's some kind of unique genetic trait.
My father, he was an artist, and at the age of 10 years old, I started to learn him with him, and he was very surprised that I picked very quick.
He has earned a living from this skill, and it's taken him around the world.
You have to always practice, and it make you perfect.
But has this practice had any lasting physical effect? Food and liquids enter the stomach from the esophagus. They travel down a ring of muscles called the cardiac sphincter, which normally prevent food from passing back up the esophagus. While the average human stomach can hold nearly 1 litre at a time, it's a muscular sac, and therefore it can expand to hold a greater amount before returning to its normal size. Over time, this process can increase the size of your stomach's capacity. Could this be what Dixon's done? Trained his stomach and pushed the limits of what it can hold by drinking so much? And what enables him to spit out the water like he does? I want to find out, but first I've arranged to meet him for a chat, and I'm hoping to see some of the real Dixon rather than the performer.
So,
the fire trick was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I was not expecting it. But today, I'm full of questions.
Yeah.
So first of all, when you've got 5 litres of water in your stomach, what's the process of being able to send it out? Is it the muscles contracting in the stomach?
I use pressure and push the stomach, you know?
Yeah.
So I use muscles to push the water out.
Yeah.
And when the water comes in up, I can really control here. Close, open, always close, open. So when the water comes in, I just open here and the water comes in the mouth.
Oh, so you're squeezing it from the stomach, and you can control the throat?
That's right.
Open, close, open.
Close, open, close. And once I put the pressure in the stomach, the water cannot resist. They must come in.
Yeah. Do you use your mouth as well to, is that just direction, or are you squeezing in the mouth?
Yeah, I can bring right, I can bring left, I can bring forward, I can bring up. It depends.
So you can just all all stages of the process, you can control it.
That's right.
And the stomach as well is, you know, it's there for food. It's there for digestion, and it's a very acidic environment. Does it burn in the esophagus or the throat or the mouth, or no problem?
No, doesn't burn.
No?
No.
Wow, I'm surprised.
So according to Dixon, by contracting his stomach muscles, he's able to force the water out of his overloaded stomach, and can then control his throat muscles to direct the flow of water out of his mouth. But I don't think he realizes quite how dangerous this can be. I'm now taking Dixon to the German Sport University. I want to carry out a medical assessment while he drinks a potentially deadly amount of water. Dr. Di Marie? I'm Thom.
Hi, Thom.
Pleased to meet you. This is Dixon.
Hi, Dixon. Hi.
Dr. Marcus Di Maurice has agreed to monitor Dixon during the test.
If you drink 5 liters of water in, let's say, 5 minutes, it's very dangerous. It's dangerous for your stomach because your stomach had to be used to such big amounts of water. If I would do that in an untrained situation, my stomach probably would burst.
Our kidneys maintain our body's water balance by controlling the concentration of water in our blood. A healthy kidney can excrete 800 to 1,000 milliliters of water an hour. When a person drinks more than this in a short period of time, they cannot flush it out fast enough. The blood becomes waterlogged, causing levels of sodium to drop.
Decreasing values of sodium causes a swelling of cells, and that might cause headache and malfunction of your brain.
This is what's known as water intoxication. There have been many reported fatalities from this, and doctors warn it can occur after drinking as little as 3 liters in a short period of time. The doctor understandably has some serious concerns about what Dixon is about to do. So he wants to take some measurements before he drinks anything.
Say again?
105.5 kilograms.
We weigh him, measure his stomach, and use an ultrasound machine to see if everything looks normal.
So it's going to be cold. I'm sorry for that.
Always good to see.
With all of our base measurements down, it's now time for Dixon to drink some water. The doctor wants to hook him up to a heart rate monitor.
Is that finger all right?
Yeah.
Good. With this, we'll be able to see any effects on Dixon's heart rate when he drinks.
What do you think?
The first bottle went down in an incredible 10 seconds, and his heart rate has shot up to 118. But he's straight onto number 2.
So that's 3 liters. They call him the Waterman. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe that.
Right.
You're fine?
I'm good.
Dixon drank the second bottle a little slower, but still took less than 20 seconds. Taking on the water is clearly affecting his heart rate, as it's now dropped to 88. And the doctor is watching it closely. On the third bottle, with only 200 milliliters left to drink, Dixon appears to be struggling. Has the Waterman reached his limit? Dixon appears to take control of his body, seemingly relaxing and enabling himself to drink the remaining few drops, lowering his heart rate to just 71 beats per minute. That's 5 litres, or 4.5 litres.
4.5 liters.
Okay. Right, Dixon, straight on the scales.
Here everything is alright.
To ensure that Dixon definitely consumed the water, we weigh him to see the change.
It's about 110.
He weighs exactly 4.5 kilos more than he did, so he definitely drank it. But where is he storing it? Hopefully the ultrasound will show us exactly that.
Here you see the big volume of water.
Oh, you can see it moving.
Yeah, here you see
wow.
the little liver, and here you see the liquid.
The liver's quite squashed there.
Yeah. Here you see the huge, huge stomach.
So it is all in the stomach.
Dixon. Congrats.
You are extraordinary. Incredibly, Dixon is able to store huge amounts of water in his stomach with little effect. For any normal human being, doing this could prove fatal.
Here you see the big volume of water.
While it's pushing his other organs out of the way, his oxygen saturation remained close to 100, so his lung function wasn't impaired, and Dixon is seemingly unharmed. For safety reasons, the doctor now insists that Dixon spurts the water back out as soon as the tests are done, even though Dixon says he can keep it in there. He actually holds the record, Guinness World Book of Records, for doing this continuously for a minute, and he can't breathe when he's doing it. It's cool. We then re-weigh Dixon to make sure that the water in his stomach is now back to a safe level.
2 liters.
So he's got 2 litres left. Yeah.
So
wow.
2 liters is good for me.
Yeah, 2 liters is alright.
So you want me to keep it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially you are used to that. If you are not used to that, I would force you to 1 liter more on it.
And the kidneys? You don't have any problems with the kidneys? It's fine? Wow. It's unbelievable.
Cool.
It's unbelievable. What an extraordinary human.
Yeah, definitely. Chapeau, Dixon.
Chapeau. Thank you very much, Mr. Doctor.
He got somehow a way to contract his stomach and to open the sphincter so he can pull out the water for 1 minute. I haven't seen that before, and I wouldn't believe that before. It was very special.
It appears that despite the massive risks, Dixon has physically adapted his body to be able to drink these vast quantities of water.
Well, if somebody wants something and he tries to focus on this aim, he can reach it.
Before I met Dixon Oppong, I didn't believe any human would be able to drink the amount of water he claimed to. I don't know what to say. But after witnessing him perform this incredibly dangerous stunt in person and seeing his unique anatomy in the ultrasound, it's clear that his ability is down to physically adapting his own stomach over time. But not only can he hold these vast quantities of water, he can regurgitate on demand and turn himself into a human fire extinguisher. Well done. He really is an extraordinary human. Up next, I meet a man who was born with a giant right arm. Right, this is starting to get heavy now. I'm going to find out if he's turned this genetic mutation into a real-life superpower and see how strong he really is.
Come on, 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 come on!
I'm in Germany to find a man born with a giant arm. Displays of competitive strength have been around for thousands of years. It requires power, determination, and technique. I'm off to meet a man who has an incredibly rare genetic disorder, and he's turned it into a winning advantage.
My name is Matthias Schlitter. I'm a German international arm wrestling champion, and I'm 27 years old.
Matthias was born with a rare bone disorder, which meant his right arm is 33% bigger than his left.
My first experience in arm wrestling was in 2004 when I was 16 years old and I was still in school. And I can remember really like it was yesterday the day. And my mom came home from the petrol station and brought a flyer with her. And there this flyer said, Heinzlin, my hometown, is looking for the strongest arm wrestler. And so I entered this tournament with 63 kilo, youngest guy, tiniest guy in the 85 kilo class, and first these guys in this hall laughed at me and made a little bit fun of me, but after I brought down some big men and won the tournament, it changed to respect.
Since winning his first tournament, Matthias has gone on to win many international championships and is known on the arm wrestling circuit as Hellboy. I've come to his hometown to meet him and see his super strong arm for myself.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So, should I show you my party trick?
Yeah.
To demonstrate the power of the fingertips and how important this is. So
okay.
I feel like
because you got a big hand as well.
Exactly, and you also need the power in your fingertips and stuff.
Right.
So here I feel like a normal apple, and we should do so, or we should create some apple juice. Do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
That may not look extraordinary, but I know it takes a serious amount of force to crush an apple. But Matthias has another trick up his sleeve. The egg, one of nature's strongest structures, is virtually impossible to crush lengthways, but Matthias can somehow destroy it with just the fingertips and his giant arm.
That is a big advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the force is coming backwards, so you have to hold the hand of your opponent to tear them to your side, and that's why it's very important to have strong fingertips. And it's also like...
And make apple juice.
Yeah, for making apple juice. The Hellboy made apple juice.
I want to find out more about Matthias's arm, so we head to the cafe at his local gym to talk.
So tell me a little bit about, you've obviously got, it's Proteus syndrome, that's right?
Yeah.
What's the exact implications of that?
Yeah, so it's a very rare genetic syndrome, and it affected my right arm. When I was a baby, it was already there, so my right arm bone was always 33% bigger than the left one, and that's the whole secret.
Wow, the secret, I like that.
So it's the whole arm is not longer, it's just 33% thicker than the left one. So that's the bone is just bigger, and if you carry your whole life a bigger bone in your body, then you develop other muscles.
So how often are you in training? How many days or hours do you do?
It's quite intense, so especially when I prepare for bigger tournaments, I train like 5 to 6 times a week and then 1 to 2 hours.
And so, obviously, power arm wrestling is very physical, but I'm really interested to get into your mind a little bit. Is there a large psychological element as well?
Definitely. So the fight starts before you step to the tables. I try to get settled and cool and to show my power. I'm not the loud type of arm wrestler.
And you're with these world championships, you're known all around the world now.
Yeah, I guess so. In the world of arm wrestling, I'm pretty popular.
Famous.
Yeah. You got me.
Tonight, Matthias is competing in an arm wrestling competition, and he's invited me to come along. But first, I'm going to join him in a training session to see his arm in action. To prepare for tonight's competition, Matthias shows me an exercise called a static hold.
You sure that t-shirt's big enough, dude?
I hope so,
It looks pretty tight.
It's a technique he uses to increase the intensity of a workout, putting extra strain on his muscles when they're already tired.
Twice a 25?
25.
So
He starts with 15 kilos and gradually increases the weight.
Right, this is starting to get heavy now. And it gets even bigger.
Yeah, always.
I mean, these are pretty heavy. I'm just going to see if I can just do one curl.
Be careful.
Oh, I'm struggling to do one with that.
50% rep. Good one.
Yeah.
While I might be struggling to lift some of these, Matthias goes all the way up to 40 kilos.
Good?
Yeah, good so.
Right.
Okay.
And he says that's taking it easy.
Wow.
Okay.
He claims he can lift up to 60 kilos. That's nearly twice the male average and the same weight as a fully grown Rottweiler. I'm surprised just how much training Matthias has to do to compete in his sport. I thought he was born with a giant arm that would automatically make him a great arm wrestler. But it sounds like there's much more to it than that.
Training is not just focused on my right arm or my wrist. For arm wrestling, you really need your whole body. So I have to work out my chest, my back, my legs. Everything has to be strong because your whole body power is important. And that's why my training is my total body training, not just an arm workout or something.
Matthias was born with Proteus syndrome, an incredibly rare condition that causes bone, skin and tissue in a certain part of the body to grow out of proportion to the rest. But only a few hundred people are thought to be affected by this disease worldwide. For Matthias, his right arm has always been larger than his left, but it wasn't until he was 3 years old that his parents noticed he was unusually strong.
We lived in a flat, and we have to bring always to heat up the flat, bring up some buckets with coals to heat an oven. Yeah, and my mom told me that story that she came out of the basement, then she turned around and the small 3-year-old Matthias tried to lift up the bucket and could move it, and that was very a big surprise for a 3-year-old boy. That was the first moment where my parents saw that my hand or my arm was much stronger than the left one.
And Matthias has only ever seen his giant arm as an advantage.
I'm happy that I don't get affected in a negative way by the arm. I can ride, I can paint, I can do everything with the hand. Maybe I was chosen to get a good arm wrestler, and that's my calling in life probably.
I want to find out exactly what's causing Matthias's unbelievable strength. But first, I need to see him in action.
I cannot wait to go and see this competition. I've never been to a live arm wrestling competition before, and he says some of the guys there are going to be the biggest that you get in these open competitions. He's in the 70-kilo category, but he's going to be up against some of the huge guys too, so I really can't wait to see him in action.
When I arrive, the competition is in full swing.
What's happening? How are we doing?
So we are now in the lower Saxony state championship, and we are in the middle of the competition. So
okay. Are you up soon?
While the venue might look amateur, the arm wrestlers collected here are some of Europe's greatest. And tonight's competition will see one winner crowned champion.
Ready, go!
Matthias will be up against some of the toughest opponents in Germany. He says this is where technique, as well as power, comes into play.
Ready, go!
Arm wrestling is a very complex sport. So we have, for example, 3 basic techniques. The top roll, where you open with the area under your thumb, the fingers of your opponent. The hook, where I bend my wrist and put my opponent in the pad. Or like the hammer move, where I just go sideways with my side pressure down.
Championship, ladies and gentlemen, please come to the table.
Looking on, I can see this is as much about mental strength as it is physical.
Parallel lassen. Geht noch nicht los. Länge gerade. Bisschen gerade. So bleiben. Ready, go!
And as well as being known for his giant arm, Matthias also has a great technique.
There are so many different varieties. You always find a weapon against the strongest guy.
The competition has reached the knockout stage. Matthias is up against a wrestler from the same weight category, 70 kilos. His arm dwarfs his opponent's. But will that be enough to win?
Ready, go! Oh, winner!
That match lasted just 5 seconds.
That was tough. Good first one. He was going for it.
Next up, a European champion faces one of the biggest arm wrestlers in the competition. After a false start, the referee has to use a strap to tie their hands together. Whoever wins this match will be up against Matthias in the next round.
Ready, go!
I can see he's watching their techniques closely.
Come on. Okay, come on. It's not over, it's not over.
I wasn't expecting it to be this tense.
Wow, wow, that was
a good one.
That was intense.
I can't believe he managed to beat a guy that much bigger than him. I'm beginning to understand that technique can be as important as strength. Having just seen that, I'm not so certain of Matthias's chances against this guy. Time to see what his arm can really do.
Take your grip, okay? Ready, go!
Matthias uses his body weight as an anchor, but his power arm seems to be doing all the work. That was quick.
Well done, man. Is that tough?
Yeah. We're straight on to the final round, and Matthias is up against a guy nearly 30 kilos heavier. Will his arm give him enough advantage to win? I genuinely have no idea which way this is going to go.
Ready, go!
Come on, Matty.
Come on, Matty, come on!
Despite the size difference, Matthias wins with ease.
The champ of the champ, the state open in Germany, Matthias Schlitter.
I can see why Matthias is such a great arm wrestler. Not only does he use his incredible physical strength, he also appears to have a calm, psychological advantage over his competitors.
So you've just won,
yeah,
and I'm keen to get involved. So to not only learn a little bit about the technique, but basically I want to have an arm wrestle with you.
Okay.
But not with this one.
I expected this.
This one. Business. Business.
Now it's my turn, but thankfully against Matthias's left arm.
And everything what you do, never, for example, never pull like this. Always bring your body behind it.
Right,
exactly.
okay.
So that's avoid like a break here. So
yeah.
Even if you're down, go after it.
Yeah, okay,
Go
gotcha.
after it. So
yeah.
That's the key.
So not like, right, okay.
Okay, good. So we can go. Yep, go.
That's not fair.
Perhaps I'll leave it to the pros.
Well done, buddy. Seeing Matthias in competition, wow, just wow. Like, he comfortably won his own weight category. But the most interesting thing was he was beating guys that were probably twice the size of him. It just leaves me thinking, like, is it just power? Is it technique? You know, he's honed these skills over a long time, and I really just want to find out, what is his secret?
I'm joined by Matthias, and we head to the Institute for Sports Medicine to get the opinion of a sports scientist.
Dr. Vidka?
Hello.
Ah, pleased to meet you. I'm Thom.
Hello. My name is Torge. Hello.
Hi, hello. Matthias. This is Matthias.
Dr. Torge Vidka has devised some tests to help find out if Matthias's strength is all down to his genetic gift.
Please stand with your foot.
First, we use a body composition machine to get a complete profile of Matthias's physique. This measures the percentage and weight of his fat, muscle, and bone. When the results are in, it's pretty impressive. Matthias weighs in at 71.4 kilos, but a massive 38.1 kilos of that is pure muscle.
The most impressive thing on this sheet his right arm to his left arm.
Okay.
The left arm is about 3.83 kilos.
And the moneymaker?
Weighs about 6.24.
Wow, so more than 50% bigger.
Wow, yeah.
So his right arm is now almost twice the weight of his left. The Proteus syndrome meant that his arm was 33% bigger at birth. So all this extra weight must have come from his focused weight training. Dr. Vidka has a machine that will allow us to compare his arm strength side by side.
Just please sit down here.
So we can find out how strong his giant arm really is.
This machine is called the row. The row tests all the muscles in this area.
Yep.
Yeah, and also the biceps, because all the movements you got from the back, you also need the biceps.
Yeah.
Back. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're gonna start with 30 kilos. It's okay for you?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, good. Very good. So just fix your other arm there, okay? All the time. Please try to do the movement like this, not like this, like this.
Okay,
yeah?
good.
Okay. So we go to the front. Okay. Okay, completed. 32. Okay, completed. 34. Oh, okay, completed.
Nice.
36. Okay, completed. 38. Oh, no.
Little bit of move in the back.
No cheating, no cheating. Come on, again. 38. Come, no cheating. No cheating, no cheating. Okay, incomplete. Okay. 36 was finished. 38 was not reached. Okay. So, right now the other arm. Okay?
Good.
Now, starting with the weight his left arm maxed out at, Matthias moves on to his giant right arm.
Okay.
But will this one be significantly stronger?
Easy. 36. 38. Come on. Easy. 38. 40. 42. 44. Oh, 46. Okay,
This
it's
is the
getting
money maker.
heavier.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's doing well.
48.
Good form as well.
Come on, stay. Okay.
Okay.
48. 50 was not completed.
So we had 36 completed on this arm and 48 on that arm.
So Matthias's right arm can pull a whole 12 kilos more than his left. But we still have one more test to go. Grip strength.
So if I grab the hand of my opponent, the wrists have to be straight, but for example, this would be like a fair grip.
Yeah.
But if I try to move over just slightly, even this, I guess I'm 100% sure in this position, the opponent would have 80% less chances to win, because I'm already over to open the hand, and this, everything is possible. But on this, I have a small advantage, and that can be huge.
So you're fighting for the hand position just as much as you are using power.
Exactly, so the real fight starts before the start signal.
Matthias claims that grip strength is one of the key attributes of a great arm wrestler, and something he says only comes with training and practice.
So,
Dr. Vidka has a specially designed machine that can measure the hand's ability to squeeze. Weights are placed in a basket at one end, and the subject has to squeeze the lever at the other to lift them.
So we're on, what are we on at the moment?
Matthias starts with 40 kilos.
This is 40 kilos.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Come on. Okay, full pull.
Yeah.
And he does it easily. Then we up the weight to 45 kilos.
Come on, just the forearm and go. Come on. And
Yeah, he's got a full
okay,
one on
full
that
pull.
one.
Okay. You want another 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come on, close it. Close it. Come on. No full pull. No full pull. Come on.
Not today.
Not today.
While 50 kilos defeated his power arm, he still managed to lift 45 kilos purely with his grip, more than the doctor has ever seen before.
Okay, full.
From our tests, it would appear that Matthias's strength can be attributed to two things. While the Proteus syndrome he was born with has given him an excellent base, it's his dedicated training that has resulted in his extraordinary strength. I'm truly amazed at what Matthias has done. Not only has he used a genetic condition to his advantage, but with years of training and dedication, he's molded his arm into the ultimate wrestling weapon.
Many people think that a big arm is an advantage for arm wrestling. Without training, passion, experience, and the whole package, it's nothing. So it's just a good base, but not more.
On this leg of my search, I've met two incredible people. Dixon Oppong has trained himself to do something any other human would find impossible.
It just keeps coming.
Not to mention seriously dangerous. And he's physically adapted his body in the process, all in the name of performance. Meanwhile, Matthias Schlitter was born with his adaptation. He's taken his giant arm and trained it to his advantage, turning himself into the ultimate arm wrestler. So I've come to the end of my German tour, and meeting Matthias and Dixon just taught me again how incredible the human body can be. I can't wait to find out what's next on part of my extraordinary journey. Join me next time as I continue my search for more extraordinary humans. My name is Thom Hunt. I'm a biologist, survivalist, and all-round adventurer. I've always been fascinated by the limits of human capabilities.
I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make sense.
What people can achieve when they break from convention. So I'm setting out on a mission to find incredible people who claim to possess unique abilities. Powers that push the known limits of the mind.
When you just see it happen in front of you, it's incredible.
And body. And defy the laws of conventional science. I'll get an insight into their worlds and witness their abilities firsthand.
That's as far in as your ear. That's the middle of your skull.
I'll use my own scientific knowledge and call in experts to discover what lies behind their skills.
It was so incredible to watch.
I want to find out just what it takes to become an extraordinary human. On my search for extraordinary humans, I'm on the trail of two more people who claim to have unique abilities. While circus performers of old were held in high esteem for their daredevil stunts, the performers I'm on my way to meet claim to go way beyond normal human capabilities. The first man I investigate is an acrobat born with some kind of death wish. I want to know how he can balance on the edge of the world's most terrifying drops without feeling any fear. Then I track down a real-life Iron Man who appears to have a body of steel. He claims to endure bone-crushing weights, and yet somehow survives. My quest to find extraordinary humans has brought me to Andalusia in Spain, the birthplace of bullfighting. Fear is one of the most primitive and powerful of the human emotions. People can become addicted to it or scared of it. Now, I've come to a region that's famous for its bravery, and I'm about to meet a man who's taken fear to a whole new level.
I'm Eskil Rønningsbakken. I'm 35 years old, coming from Norway, and I'm a performer of balancing acts.
Eskil claims to have complete control of his fear, enabling him to perform incredible balancing feats. But Eskil is no ordinary acrobat. He performs stunts like no one else on Earth. I want to find out if he has some kind of death wish, or could he be completely immune to fear? But he claims what he does is extreme art.
To me, this is all about creating pictures It's not about walking the wire, the longest stretch or the highest. It's all about art.
Eskil asked me to meet him near the infamous Puente Nuevo Bridge, where he's about to attempt his latest deadly stunt. To avoid the local authorities, he has to do this at the crack of dawn. And Eskil's life will literally be in the balance. To get the best view, I've been told to go to a point on the other side of the gorge. The bridge spans the 120-metre sheer drop. Eskil is going to stack 3 ordinary chairs on the very edge of the bridge, then do a handstand on them. Now, I've seen acrobats carry out similar feats, but incredibly, Eskil's going to do it with absolutely no safety equipment.
I cannot believe he's going to do this.
With nothing below him but jagged rocks, one small mistake could prove fatal.
My heart is absolutely racing. Oh my God, he's just about to start.
Once Eskil has stacked the last chair, he prepares to balance. Now for the moment of truth. If the chairs topple over, there's no doubt Eskil will die.
This is unreal. Oh my...
I can't believe he is doing this without a harness. Up close, you can see the physical strain it's taking to maintain control. Perhaps the chairs are stronger than they look, but even so, from here, I feel terrified just watching him. After nearly a minute, Eskil comes to a finish and finally climbs down.
I cannot believe I've just seen that. I've seen some things in my time before, but that is well and truly up there. Quite literally. I've got to go and meet this guy.
Despite being millimetres from a 120-metre drop, there was absolutely no trickery involved. Eskil really is risking his life each time he performs insane stunts like this. I've got to find out if Eskil is just a daredevil or if he's totally immune to fear.
So Eskil, I want to know, where did this start for you? How did you learn such a unique skill?
Well, I guess all this started when I was about 5 years old. We had a yoga teacher. I remember this guy, he impressed me a lot with his skills. He was able to do a handstand, a headstand, and many other things with his body. But I'd never seen anything like this before.
What's the favourite environments of yours to go and do these stunts?
I prefer the nature, in my natural surroundings, with some amazing sceneries, like you got drops of 1,000 meters.
But does he feel any fear when facing death?
And tell me what it feels like when you're up there. Are you calm or do you get nervous?
I get nervous, but these are techniques that I've learned over a long time, and I think it's absolutely natural to get nervous on my behalf as a human being, because you get in touch with this fine border or limit between life and death.
Okay.
You get to experience without being in the middle of it by yourself.
Yeah.
To me, it's talk about living 100%. It's not talk about challenging the death.
Yeah.
At all.
It's all about living.
It's all about living.
Wow, okay.
He says he feels fear, but he's not just a thrill seeker.
If you're pushing the limits, what inspires you?
Well, not first of all to push the limits, but to create art and end up with a nice picture. Photography. Mm-hmm. And it all starts like some sort of vision that I have. I can see a location, I see an action being done in this location, and my satisfaction is when I can hold the picture in my own hands and see it realized.
The stunts in Eskil's extreme art are jaw-dropping, not to mention seriously dangerous. Many famous performers before him have perished carrying out similar high-risk stunts. I want to actually try a little bit, if you can maybe teach me a bit, but where would you start?
So balance is quite much about where you look, how you're able to control every single muscle in your body,
right,
and how you distribute the weight about one center point.
Okay.
So I'll show you one.
Yeah. Without a moment's hesitation, Echil balances on one hand, just millimeters from a deadly 100-meter cliff edge.
Try to raise them. And the one maneuvering now is mostly the arm,
yeah,
but also the legs.
Wow. And so you're thinking about the whole of the body distribution, the weight of your arms in order to counterbalance each other from a central point.
Yeah, and what you're trying to avoid is that you flip over.
Yeah.
In this case, it's going to be dangerous, 100 meters fly.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to walk over there.
Okay.
And let you try.
While Echil seemed fine doing that on the ledge, I definitely would rather have a go without a 100-meter drop below. Wow. So we find a spot suitable for a beginner.
So I'm going to show you a simple one.
Yeah.
Try first with two arms. Don't like this. Open your legs. And then look up and try to raise your legs.
Ah, okay. You make it look too easy. I'm going to make a hash of this, but I'll have a go. Right, so... Right. Wide legs.
And now try to lift your legs. And then raise your legs.
The strength needed just to balance is immense. When paralyzed with fear, it must become almost impossible. That is so intense, like just a few seconds.
It really is, huh? Then you're gonna hold it for half a minute.
Wow, you are seriously well trained at this. Like, do you use different shapes for the different props that you mentioned?
Yeah, I got different positions that I'm trained to do on the different kind of props.
Yeah.
So it's like drawing or taking a picture. You compose it piece by piece.
In your mind first?
Yeah, in your mind first, and then after you go ahead and do it.
Echil's ability is very impressive. While it's obvious that physical fitness plays a massive part in what he does, I'm curious about his mental strength. It's almost like he refuses to acknowledge the danger. Is he deluding himself? Switching off the fear? Or perhaps he has some kind of death wish? But what allows Echil to carry out these incredible feats? It's clear that from a very early age, he has trained himself to completely control his mental and physical responses to fear, allowing him to perform such daredevil acts with complete confidence. But what does he experience?
To be honest, there is no space for thinking about anything else than doing the right thing and surviving. Your eyes are focusing on one certain point. Everything around becomes blurry. Sound-wise, you are experiencing it like being in the middle of two radio stations. And sometimes this sound follows me for a day or two after.
In order to really explore what gives him this control, I've arranged to meet with Dr. Hans Markovich, a leading neuropsychologist. He's agreed to carry out a cutting-edge psychological profile on both of us, used to analyze fear and identify psychopathic and suicidal tendencies. But we won't be carrying this out in the usual lab setting. He's asked us to meet him at El Caminito del Rey, a walkway pinned to the walls of a narrow gorge known as the world's most dangerous footpath. I want to find out if Echil really does have a death wish.
Hans, why have you brought us here today?
Well, you should experience how it is to be in a, well, we can say scary mountain area, and we'll see whether you experience a bit of fears.
The first thing we need to do is measure our vitals in a resting, calm situation. He fits me with monitors, which will take my pulse rate and my breathing rate.
What results have we got from that test, Hans?
You are indeed relaxed, so pulse rate is stable. The same is with breathing.
Yeah, feel relaxed at the moment. So, Eskil, your go?
The doctor then gets Eskil hooked up to his monitors and gathers the same base readings for him.
This shows you are more or less perfect in a resting state.
With both of us kitted out and feeding back results to his computer, we're on to the real test.
And now I'll lead you directly to the mountain area, and there we'll have a bit more of a challenge.
So you're setting me up for a very scary scenario right now.
Well, we'll see how scary.
Hey, this is his job. It's not necessarily my job.
Okay.
The Caminito del Rey footpath was closed in 2001 after 5 deaths.
Okay, then we go top the mountain.
It's a boarded walkway that hangs to the edge of a sheer cliff face with a 105-metre vertical drop to the river below and sheer rock walls looming above. Fear expert Dr. Markovic says this infamous footpath is the perfect place to test his subjects' physiological responses to fear. Thrill seekers from across the globe have travelled here to test their nerve, and video footage from their exploits shows why it has earned its notoriety. In fact, people have died whilst attempting to capture these images. So, due to the dangerous nature of the path, our camera crew have been left behind. But they've hooked me up with a small camera to record our progress. As a pioneer of fear research, Dr. Markovic may be accustomed to being exposed to this level of danger, but I'm not. Walking this path is certainly a nerve-wracking experience. With gaps between the planks and nothing but a thin wire to hold onto, I'm definitely feeling myself get more and more nervous as we climb. As the doctor leads us further and further down this notoriously deadly path, his equipment is monitoring our body's responses to the danger. And all the while, the doctor is asking us a series of carefully designed questions to assess our psychological approach to fear and death. Eventually, we reach a hanging bridge. Suspended between 2 sides of the gorge, it's the smallest and scariest bridge I've ever stood on. My chest is pounding with fear. The readings from my heart rate monitor must be off the scale. Finally, we reach the other side and the end of the challenge. Dr. Markovic now examines both of our physiological responses. My heart rate had increased to over 140 beats per minute, but amazingly, Eskil's data showed 0 fear response to the world's deadliest path. But the doctor says the handrail meant that Eskil knew he was at no real risk of death. So to scientifically prove that Eskil is immune to fear, the doctor wants to retest him, whilst his life is truly on the line, and this time with no safety measures. Eskil says he has the perfect demonstration where any mistake would mean certain death.
Eskil's just warming up, and we're going to see his ladder stunt, which I haven't seen before. We saw the chairs earlier, and Hans is with me to basically see it for the first time.
Eskil has rigged up a ladder to protrude from this terrifying rock ledge. He will attempt to suspend himself horizontally over this 300-metre vertical drop for a full minute, whilst the doctor keeps an eye on the heart rate monitor, searching for any sign of fear. With no safety equipment of any sort in place, one false move or lapse in concentration could easily prove fatal. As Eskil gets to the top of the ladder, I can feel adrenaline coursing through my veins. If anything will test his ability to suppress fear, this is definitely it. As Eskil extends his body out over the sheer drop, his extraordinary self-control is fully apparent. For any normal person, the fear would be paralyzing and make any movement almost impossible, let alone attempting this. This is truly extraordinary.
That is just something. How do you feel? Good?
Yeah, I feel good now. A little bit exhausted.
My heart is in my mouth just watching you. It's so far down. It must be, it's hundreds of meters down there.
Yeah, but it's a free feeling. Everybody's dreaming about flying. And this is the closest I can get to the dream without parachuting or buying a set of wings.
Wow, wow. What do you think, Han?
Yeah, very, very impressive. I mean, I saw you the first time today, but really very impressive. I mean, that needs really exact and great concentration.
Thank you.
And power as well. I'm so nervous. Like, I think I'm a bit higher than you are. Like, are you genuinely calm?
I don't think so. But I learned how to control myself in certain situations. So this is what I do best in life.
It's so exciting for me to watch you, and it's just the most extraordinary and peculiar and unique thing to see. It's incredible.
Thanks for saying that.
What I've just seen Eskil do is beyond belief. That was the ultimate display of fearlessness. I came here thinking Eskil must have a death wish to attempt the things he does. But it's time to find out what Dr. Markovic's results will reveal. And when I see the heart rate data, Eskil's ability to control his fear is clear. Just walking on the path sent my vitals soaring. But Eskil's heart rate and breathing rate showed almost no increase, remaining below a normal person's resting rate, even though he was hanging over a 300-meter vertical drop. But it's the data from the doctor's psychological profile that uncovers something totally unexpected. Psychologically, Eskil is actually much less of a risk taker than I am.
Hang on a second. Are you trying to tell me that he is health conscious but is happy to dangle himself over the edge of a cliff or off a bridge?
Yes, that I do. He is very conscious about his own health, while you very little.
Well, I got to keep fit, I got to keep healthy to be able to perform the way I do, because it's so extreme that you can't allow yourself to catch a cold or to get food poisoned or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because then your body no longer works 100%, which is required for this kind of performance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The results show that he is concerned, that he is not risky, that he is well thinking what he's doing and well planning apparently. So this is counter to my simple expectations.
It's Eskil's ability to perform these feats despite understanding the risks that has amazed the doctor.
I thought it was going to be more risk-takey and, you know, more of a sort of go with the wind type thing, you know, being a bit of a daredevil.
That I thought as well, yeah.
But actually the level of control and focus, but also the level of enjoyment that you get out of it as well, is something really fascinating.
Yes, it is.
So we've discovered Eskil wasn't born without a sense of fear or with some kind of death wish. But through training, he has made himself immune to his fear, controlling his physical responses, enabling him to perform feats like no one else on Earth. Getting to know Eskil over the last few days has been a personal pleasure of mine, but mostly it's been a surprise. He's not necessarily in it for the adrenaline buzz. He's in it because he's an artist.
I don't think there are any other human beings on this earth that perform to such an extreme that I do, and especially not with the same kind of goal that I have. What really drives me is to get as close as possible with real life to the image that I created up in my head.
His stunts are extraordinary, but the man that sits behind it was the most fascinating thing for me. Next up, I go in search of a man rumoured to have a body of steel. What he can do challenges everything I know about the limits of the human body. He claims to withstand bone-crushing weights that would kill any normal human being. I'm heading north to track him down and put him to the test. Deep in the Rioja region of provincial Spain, Logroño is far from the typical tourist area, meaning that finding people who speak English can be tricky. So I've arranged to meet a local translator, Sebastian, to help me track down a very unique individual. Sebastian,
Thom,
thank you so much for meeting me in this quite remote place of Spain.
welcome to Logroño. Bienvenido a Logroño.
The man I want to find claims to have an indestructible chest.
Me llamo Eduardo Aramayo.
My name is Eduardo Aramayo, and I'm a welder by trade. But I also perform stunts and do shows, where I endure the largest weights possible being put on my abdomen.
Unsurprisingly, for a man who claims to have the toughest chest on earth, Sebastian tells me he can often be found working out in a nearby gym.
Hola.
Hola, I'm Thom.
Hola, Eduardo.
I'm glad I found you, because I've heard that you can take the most incredible weights on your body, and I want to find out whether this is true, or I want to find out more about it.
My record for putting weights on my chest is actually 1,483 kilos.
On your chest? And where does the weight go?
It goes on the chest, the rib cage, and on the abdomen.
This sounds incredible. Is this a skill that you've always had, or you have to train a lot for it?
I've been training for a long, long time. I've been doing exercises for making myself stronger. And I've learned a technique from a teacher from Thailand. It's been a long time.
Wow, because it sounds superhuman. It sounds like this should not be possible. Eduardo tells me and Sebastian that he's currently training for a stunt he's going to be doing later on today, and that I can actually help him out.
Okay.
I have no idea what to expect. I've seen people lift large weights before, but placing them directly on their abs? This must require some serious muscle strength to prevent irreversible damage to his internal organs. As his trainer lifts 20-kilo weights onto his body, this is safe, I think each will surely be the last. But they keep coming. Yes, he's okay.
¿Está bien, no?
Okay.
He's up to 180 kilos now, and they're still piling up. This is a lot of pressure right on the organs.
Mucha presión.
If that wasn't enough, Eduardo indicates he wants me to stand on too. Right, are you sure?
¿Estás seguro, no?
Right, okay. Oh my God, this is really... Oh my God. This is insane. Eduardo's loaded with 200 kilos of weights, plus all 75 kilos of me, and he barely seems to be straining. Despite the extreme pressure, somehow it looks like he's still able to control his breathing and withstand the huge weight. Whoa. Oh my God, these are 44 pounds each. Wow.
Wow, dice, impresionante.
This is on the soft, it's the organs. Because I thought it was going to be more on the chest using the rib cage. I didn't realise
that it was nothing, it was not big.
Really?
Not big.
Well, that's
so he did
10%.
He did not need to use his rib cage, so he did it with air because it's not so much weight for him. It's para warm up.
Really? Well, I can't wait to see what's happening later on then, if that's a warm-up.
Lo mejor está por llegar.
The best is yet to come.
Well, I definitely agree that wasn't something just any human could do. But why does Eduardo choose to put his body through this?
Evidently, I've got to have something special to be able to do this. Some people call it mental, but I don't call it mental. What I call it is pride. To be able to demonstrate the capacity of my body to do these things. I'm proud to show people what my body can withstand. It's made a lot of people happy, and that makes me happy.
Y que vamos, que seguiré hasta que mi cuerpo aguante. Seguiré haciendo feliz a mucha gente. Eso me hace a mí feliz.
Eduardo says that stunt in the gym was nothing more than a warm-up. He's asked us to meet him at a friend's garage, where he's going to show me something a little more indicative of what he can really do. Eduardo claims he can withstand the weight of the back wheel of this flatbed truck. But this time, rather than just his abs taking the weight, his ribs will also take the strain, putting pressure on his heart and lungs. That just sounds insane, not to mention seriously dangerous. I've got to see this.
Hola.
Hola. Bien, bien.
This is the truck?
Este es.
It's the truck. Wow, okay. It's quite a bit bigger than I thought. How much does it weigh?
In total, 3,000 kilograms. It's safe, I'm very focused, and I'm going to give you a good show.
Okay, you feel good?
Te encontrarás bien, ¿no?
Perfect.
In comparison now, me standing on you earlier seems nothing. I was a bit worried about that.
Esto es totalmente diferente.
It's a different story, yeah? It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Es más serio, esto ya más serio, ya requiere más concentración.
It's more serious, huh?
Right.
It's really, he needs to be focused, he needs to be concentrated for doing it well.
I'm very aware that all of the internal organs, the liver, the lungs, the heart, is on the inside. This kind of stunt unnerves me slightly, I think. But if you're feeling confident...
Eduardo can clearly sense my apprehension, so he tries to explain to me how he intends to withstand the huge weight of the truck.
La capacidad pulmonar, de llevar el aire más allá de los pulmones, y concretamente en la zona abdominal.
He's saying that he's putting up like a cushion of protection with air in his body to protect his lungs, to protect his inner organs.
Right.
That's the only question.
Okay, good. Well, if he feels good, this is pretty far out for me.
Soy un profesional. He hecho estas cosas varias
He's
veces.
professional stuntman, and he's doing this thing.
I know. I don't want to seem apprehensive or worried, but this is quite a big deal.
Before he attempts this extraordinary feat, the truck needs to be lifted into position on the winch. All 3,000 kilos of it. Whilst Eduardo gets himself ready for his biggest stunt yet. He's about to take it to the next level. I'm pretty sure this is a bad idea, but Eduardo is convinced he can do it. Your ribs form a protective cage encasing delicate organs such as your heart and lungs. But these bones are fragile and can easily be broken, even by a violent sneeze. So the weight of a truck should easily crush any human ribcage. But Eduardo claims he's developed a unique breathing technique that makes his chest uncrushable. He says he packs his body full of air and somehow has the strength to keep the air in his lungs. That's what will protect him from being crushed by the huge weight from the truck. When he's ready, he gets into position. Eduardo has just a foam mat to protect him, but it won't help support the weight of the truck. Once it's in the right position, I can see the back weight of it settle straight onto his ribs and abs. Eduardo seems to pulse his muscles and keep taking in breaths of air. The pressure from this should be enough to do him some serious damage. But he seems to be withstanding it. After 25 seconds, he makes a signal for the truck to be lifted. That was amazing. I'm not surprised Eduardo feels dizzy. The truck, came down and it was... And I watched the chain go slack and you were taking the full force. That was just, it is superhuman. It's extraordinary. It doesn't make sense to me. This should not be possible for the human body. I can't quite believe what I've just witnessed. Eduardo's breathing technique meant he was able to withstand the back wheels of a truck resting straight on his chest and abdomen, well over 500 kilos. He seems to have come out totally unscathed, but he doesn't want to stop there. Eduardo says he's going to show me that he can take double that weight directly on his chest, in the form of a crushed car. But before he attempts his final stunt, he needs to prep, and he says he'll let me in on his secret. A diet rich in wine and meat. I'm hoping I'll find out if what Eduardo tells me is true. Perhaps the food and wine of the region has helped to build up his strength.
Well, as you can see, my body recovers very fast. That's probably my main strong point. So as long as it keeps on recovering, I will go on and try to do more things. In risk, there is pleasure. You know, I get pleasure from risk.
So Eduardo does get a kick out of his stunts. But his oldest friend, Matthias, says he was born with an extraordinary drive to always push his body's own limits further and further.
That Eduardo really likes to challenge himself. He likes to be better than himself, not to be better than a rival. So the competition he has is a competition with himself. The battle in his mind and the control. He has to have control of all the time. He cannot have any doubt. He cannot have any weak moments because it could have consequences.
Wow, that must make you feel incredible.
Sí, y siempre seguro de mí mismo. And he always feels secure and safe about himself.
I'm starting to believe that this diet and lifestyle could give Eduardo huge mental and physical strength. But can it really make his lungs strong enough to enable him to take the weight of an entire car on his chest? Before Eduardo can attempt the car stunt, we're heading to a trauma expert to ensure his abdomen didn't suffer any internal damage from the weight of the truck. Dr. Javier Ardanza x-rays Eduardo's ribcage to look for any possible fractures that could shatter under the weight of his next challenge. I also want him to search for any sign of superhuman lung power using a respirometer. Sebastian and I wait to hear the outcomes.
So I'm interested in the results.
Son absolutamente normales.
Dr. Ardanza says that according to the x-rays, Eduardo's chest and ribs have no fractures and still look completely normal, despite regularly being subjected to enough force to crush bone. There are some slight defects on his spine, but nothing unusual for a man of Eduardo's age.
So there's no damage from the truck stunt?
No, radiográficamente no hay ningún daño.
Good.
In the X-ray, you cannot see anything at all.
Okay.
The doctor also wants to examine Eduardo's heart in case of any irregularities that could be exacerbated by the pressure of placing a 1-ton car on his chest.
El corazón late absolutamente normal.
Finally, with nothing abnormal about his heart rate, the doctor wants to check the muscles in Eduardo's chest for any tears or weaknesses.
Bien. Ponte bien.
I'm checking for the muscles inside, between the ribs, to search for any areas of pain.
Okay, tampoco te duele, ¿no?
No. Taking.
Está absolutamente normal. Puedes darle. Dale tú.
So his
His health is perfectly normal. The x-rays, there's no damage from yesterday.
No.
No.
I'm amazed that Eduardo's chest seems to have suffered no injuries from the truck stunt. He says that it's the air in his lungs that protects his body from the huge weights on his chest. He can keep the air in his lungs despite the downward force of the wheel trying to squeeze it out of his body. But to withstand the weight of a truck, surely he must have some kind of unique lung physiology. Perhaps the results of his respirometer test will explain if there's something that sets Eduardo apart.
Corresponde a un deportista, pero absolutamente normales, sin nada extraordinario.
He's saying that in the peak flow meter test, and they found out that he has good values, okay, but they are high values, but that would be normal for a sportsman.
So his lungs aren't any bigger or any more powerful?
No.
No.
In your opinion, with someone being able to take a truck onto their body, would you expect to see some sort of damage with over 1,000 pounds of weight on them?
En una persona normal nos hubiéramos quedado como una hoja de papel.
He's saying a normal person, like a sheet of paper.
Okay, and what about all of our internal organs that we need the most? The liver, the lungs, the kidneys, the heart.
The problem is not the weight, the problem is the pressure. And the organs, which are on the back side, are better protected than the organs he has on the front sides, which would be the liver, which would be the lungs. The lungs actually can explode if he's not doing it well.
So, from your medical opinion, you certainly don't recommend this as an activity?
En absoluto.
No.
No.
Eduardo may have no broken bones, but the doctor warned him that the pressure he needs to create inside his body to fight the force of a one-ton car could rupture his vital organs and is potentially fatal. Coming up, I have one more chance to see Eduardo's extraordinary skill firsthand. He wants to push himself even further to cement his position as an extraordinary human. So he's brought us to a local scrapyard for a stunt that I fear could well prove too much. Eduardo believes that he can take the weight of this entire crushed car on his chest and survive.
Eduardo.
Hello. I'm not so sure.
Is this it? Seriously?
Esto es, ¿no? Seriamente.
How much is this weigh?
¿Cuánto pesará?
Alrededor de 1,000 kilos.
More or less 1,000 kilos.
Are you sure? You're feeling good, strong?
¿Te sientes bien, no? ¿Estás seguro y te sientes fuerte?
Sí, sí.
I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling strong. I'm a little bit worried about the metal. It might pop out and cut me.
And so what's the setup? We've got the mats, and how's it going to work?
Bueno, yo me voy a tumbar ahora en el tatami.
I'm going to be using the mats for protection. One on the floor to protect my spine. And I'll also be using a second mat to place on my chest to prevent the sharp metal from cutting through to my skin.
The weight Eduardo is planning to withstand with his chest is quite extraordinary.
Well, over the last few days, I've got to like you. So please, as long as you're confident and be safe, good luck.
This is possibly the most dangerous thing that I've ever been part of. That is a whole crushed car. We're trying to negotiate how it's going to go on top of Eduardo's chest. I seriously don't feel right about this, but he's getting it set up, he's feeling confident, and we're going to see what happens. And I hope what happens is that he's still alive at the end of it.
With everybody ready, Eduardo gets into position. Due to the razor-sharp edges protruding from the crushed car, Eduardo will be using 2 mats for protection, but they won't take any of the weight. A medical team is on hand to help minimize the risk of a fatal injury. They hook Eduardo up to an ECG machine so they can keep a close eye on his heart rate and vitals. On top of this, there'll be two key assistants who'll be managing the stunt, controlling when the weight will be released and lifted again. With a few deep breaths, Eduardo signals that he's ready. There's tension in the air as they lift the car into position. Any normal human would be crushed by such a large weight, forcing all of the air out of the body, causing the lungs to explode and the rib cage to collapse. But Eduardo is going to attempt to use his extraordinary lung strength to keep the air in his body. But is he strong enough to withstand such a huge weight? Once released, the full 1,000 kilo weight of the crushed car will rest entirely on his body. With the crane in place, Eduardo is ready. Eduardo is withstanding the weight. But then the unthinkable happens. The giant lump of metal rolls down onto his legs. His assistants act fast and have the crane remove it, but not before the damage has been done. Eduardo is in obvious pain, and the paramedics rush in to assist. It becomes apparent that Eduardo has seriously hurt his right knee. The paramedics are working hard, but Eduardo still can't move his leg.
Wow. He actually dislocated his knee. He took the full weight of the car on his chest, and then it rolled off and popped his knee out. I've just seen a man take a full car on his body. That was one of the most incredible things I think I've ever seen.
After an anxious wait, Eduardo finally manages to move his knee.
You're still alive. You good?
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing. Eduardo took the entire weight of a car, a full 1,000 kilos on his chest, and survived. Eduardo has well and truly completed this challenge, but as a precaution, the paramedics want to check him over and make sure there are no long-term effects on his knee. But thankfully, due to Eduardo's unbelievable fitness and incessant training of his whole body, he has already recovered from the stunt. Incredible.
Wow, what a guy. You should not be alive, but you are, and I'm glad.
No debería estar vivo, pero menos mal que estás.
You are crazy, you're awesome, and you're one of the most unique men I've ever met in my whole life.
On this leg of my journey, I've met two truly extraordinary people. Through discipline and dedication, Echille has trained himself to suppress not only his emotional responses to fear, but also the normally uncontrollable physical responses, allowing him to perform death-defying stunts like no other. Then, Eduardo completely blew my mind. Firstly, I witnessed him take on 200 kilos of weights.
This is safe.
And me. Next, he stepped it up and put himself under a truck. Whoa. Before finally taking on an entire car. 1,000 kilos of scrap metal. If that's not the ultimate demonstration of physical control, then I don't know what is. Join me next time on my quest to uncover more extraordinary humans.